All right, let's dive in. We're talking lifelong learning, but with a twist.
The twist.
Oh yeah, we're bringing in AI.
Makes sense. It's everywhere these days.
Exactly. And our guide for this deep dive, none other than Mark Hazelton.
Ah, always insightful.
He's got 2 blog posts we're going to unpack. Lifelong learning, the continuous evolution phenomenon, and get this, adapting with purpose. Lifelong learning in the AI age.
Catchy titles. What's the big takeaway?
How to not get left behind, basically. The AI revolution is happening, whether we like it or not.
So Hazelton's giving us a roadmap.
Basically. Practical advice, skills to focus on, even learning platforms. But got to start with the big picture, graph.
Always.
Hazelton says AI is changing how we even think about lifelong learning. It's not just knowing stuff anymore, it's being able to adapt constantly.
Like AI's the curveball and we got to hit it.
Kinda. But here's the cool part. Hazelton's not all doom and gloom about AI taking over learning.
Oh, I've heard some pretty dire predictions.
He actually sees it as a huge opportunity. Like AI can boost our ability to learn.
So not a replacement, but a tool.
Exactly. Freeing up brain power for the stuff AI can't do, the strategic thinking, the creative leaps.
More time for the why, not just the what.
You got it. And this leads to another interesting idea Hazelton brings up. Generalists versus specialists.
Classic debate, the jack of all trades versus the master of one.
Right. And Hazelton predicts, in the AI age, it's the adaptable generalists who will thrive.
Why is that?
Think about it. AI is going to automate a lot of specialized tasks.
True, stuff that used to be a specialist's bread and butter.
But what's harder to automate? Connecting different ideas, learning new things fast, solving problems across multiple fields.
Ah, the generalist's domain.
Bingo. So maybe specialists need to become a bit more generalist in their thinking, always adapting, learning outside their box.
Interesting. This ties into how Hazelton defines learning itself now, right?
Totally. It's not just knowledge, it's how you use AI to enhance what you know and how you work.
So being proactive, not just waiting for AI to do its thing.
Yeah. Constantly asking, how can AI make this better, faster, more creative, experimenting with new tools, that kind of thing.
Sounds like a mindset shift more than anything.
And this is where Hazelton gets down to brass tacks. He lists the skills everyone needs to thrive in this AI world.
Not just coding, I bet.
Nope. He's talking AI-assisted development, prompt engineering, workflow automation, even AI ethics.
Whoa, that's a lot. Let's unpack those, starting with AI-assisted development. What even is that?
Imagine having a coding buddy who's also a supercomputer. AI helps you write better code faster.
Like suggesting code, finding errors, stuff like that.
Even generating whole blocks of code based on what you tell it to do.
Wild. This is real, right? Not just sci-fi stuff.
Oh yeah, people are using this N now W. Hazelton mentions GitHub, Copilot, ChatGPT, even Gemini for those Google Colab folks.
So he's putting his money where his mouth is, actually using these tools.
He's got other posts where he uses them for C# development, making a key press counter, even learning PHP. But the point is, understand how they work. Don't just blindly use them.
Makes you a smarter user, not just a button pusher.
All right, next up, prompt engineering. Sounds kind of intimidating.
It's all about how you talk to AI, crafting the right prompts to get the output you want.
So like learning to speak AI fluently?
Pretty much. And Hazelton suggests Prompt Spark as a helpful tool. Helps you structure those prompts so AI gets it.
And track how well different prompts perform, optimize them. He's got a whole post about Prompt Spark too, plus another one where he uses an LLM to make structured data.
These AI folks are busy. On to the next one, workflow automation.
This sounds more familiar, but how does AI change it?
It's always been about automating repetitive tasks, right? But AI can handle way more complex stuff now.
So not just email reminders, but actual decision-making, data analysis, all automated.
And the tools for this, Zapier and Make.com, Hazelton uses them himself.
He even automated his GitHub profile to update with his blog posts using GitHub Actions. Wrote a post about that too, naturally. But last skill on the list, understanding AI ethics.
This one feels different. Why is it so important for lifelong learning?
Because the more we rely on AI, the more we got to use it responsibly, right?
Yeah.
Understanding biases, privacy issues, the big picture impact of this tech.
Makes sense. So it's not just, can I do this, but should I do this?
Exactly. Lifelong learning isn't just skills. It's being a good citizen in a tech-driven world.
Heavy stuff. We've covered a lot. AI changing how we learn, the rise of the adaptable generalist, those 4 essential skills. Feeling a bit overwhelmed, honestly.
I hear ya. But Hazelton doesn't just leave us hanging with concepts. He talks about specific learning approaches and platforms to actually put this into practice.
Okay, that's reassuring. What's he got? Well, he breaks it down into 3 categories: structured learning, passive learning, and then unstructured learning. And get this, he actually recommends using all 3.
Interesting. Not an either situation, more like a mix and match.
Exactly. Find what works for you. So first up, structured learning. Why is that still important when AI is changing everything so rapidly?
Good question. Feels like things get outdated the moment you learn them.
True, but structured learning, like taking a course, still gives you that solid foundation.
The building blocks.
Exactly. Especially when you're starting something totally new, it helps to have that systematic approach.
So where to go for this structured learning? Hazelton's got some favorites, right?
He does. For online learning, he gives a shout out to Pluralsight. He really likes their updated courses and engaging teachers.
And he also recommends Microsoft Learning, tons of free courses, even hands-on labs.
2 very different flavors, right? Pluralsight's known for being top-notch and engaging, while Microsoft Learning gives you that direct line to Microsoft tech and certifications.
So different strokes for different folks, even in structured learning.
For sure. Hazelton also mentions LinkedIn Learning, which makes sense. Huge library tied into the whole LinkedIn platform.
Perfect for discovering new skills or brushing up on old ones. And for those who like learning on the go, he suggests Solo Learn.
The app with bite-sized lessons and coding challenges. Perfect for squeezing in learning during your commute or lunch break.
Gotta love options. Okay, moving on to passive learning. This one sounds more laid back.
It is. Think podcasts, audiobooks, documentaries, absorbing info without really focusing on it directly.
Like while you're exercising or commuting, learning in the background.
Exactly. Hazelton's a big believer in this, says it helps you stay current on trends, explore new ideas, get those expert insights without formal study.
Soaking it all in.
Yeah. And it's a great way to supplement your structured learning or just expose yourself to different perspectives. Hazelton's favorite podcast, by the way, .NET Rocks.
Makes sense, given his background. It's all about the latest in .NET development. Shows how a podcast can be informative and connect you to a community.
Community is huge. Okay, last but not least, unstructured learning. This is all about exploration, experimentation, going at your own pace.
This one sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
It's basically learning by doing, diving into a new tech or concept without a set curriculum or teacher.
So no hand-holding, just figuring it out as you go.
Exactly. And Hazelton loves this approach. He says it's key to developing adaptability and resilience, which are crucial in the AI age.
We've been hearing a lot about that adaptability. And what's his go-to for unstructured learning? GitHub repositories, right?
You got it. For those who don't know, GitHub's where developers store and share their code.
It's like a library, but for code.
It's a goldmine of open source projects. You can learn so much just by looking at real-world code examples. You can even experiment with the code yourself.
So instead of just reading about a tech, you can see it in action, tinker with it, even contribute to projects if you're feeling ambitious.
It's hands-on learning at its best. And for someone like Hazelton, who's always pushing boundaries, it's no surprise he advocates for this.
Makes sense. You get a deeper understanding by getting your hands dirty solving problems yourself.
So we've covered structured, passive, and unstructured learning. Seems like the best approach isn't picking one, but blending all 3.
Creating your own learning cocktail.
Exactly. Recognize the strengths of each approach and find the mix that works for you, for your learning style and goals.
It's like a learning buffet. Pick and choose what you like. Create your own plate of knowledge.
I love that analogy. It really captures Hazelton's message. Lifelong learning isn't about rigid rules. It's about curiosity, being proactive, and enjoying the process of discovery.
Whether it's an online course, a podcast on your commute, or diving into a GitHub repo, it's about embracing the journey and making learning a part of your life.
Beautifully said. And this leads to Hazelton's final point, the big one. Adaptability is the key to resilience in this crazy AI-driven world.
We've been dancing around this adaptability thing, but what does it actually mean in practice? And how does it connect to all this learning talk?
It's about being able to roll with the punches. Pick up new skills quickly, not being afraid to change your approach when things shift.
Not getting stuck in your ways.
Exactly. Being okay with not knowing everything and seeing change as an opportunity, not a threat.
So how do we get better at this whole adaptability thing?
Yeah.
Is it something you're born with, or can you actually learn to be more adaptable?
I'm in the camp that it's a skill you can develop, absolutely. And guess what? Lifelong learning is the key.
It all comes back around.
It does. By constantly exploring new ideas, messing around with new tools, challenging your assumptions, you're training your brain to be more flexible.
Like a mental workout.
Exactly. The more you use those adaptability muscles, the stronger they get. And it's not just the specific knowledge or skills you gain, it's about the mindset you cultivate.
So believing you can always learn, always improve, being open to trying new things.
It's about the journey, not just the destination. Speaking of journeys, I'm curious, how have Hazelton's insights on this, on lifelong learning and adaptability, affected your own approach to learning?
Honestly, it's made me more conscious of pushing myself outside my comfort zone, trying those new learning approaches like we talked about.
Right. It's not enough to just stick with what you know.
And I'm definitely more aware of those big trends in my field, trying to anticipate how they'll impact my work down the line.
So being proactive, future-focused, instead of just reacting when things change.
Exactly. Figure out what skills you might need tomorrow and start learning them today. That's the lifelong learner spirit.
It's not a chore, it's about genuine excitement to grow and evolve.
Well said. We've covered a lot today about lifelong learning in this AI age. It's changing the game, that's for sure.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right? There's a lot to be excited about.
As we wrap up, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this whole deep dive?
Lifelong learning isn't going away, it's evolving, just like AI. And we should see that as an opportunity, not something to fear.
AI is our learning partner, pushing us further.
That's the spirit. So, final thought-provoking question for our listeners. What's one small step they can take this week to start building those adaptability muscles?
Got to make it actionable.
I challenge everyone to find one new skill or tool they're curious about. Could be AI related, could be anything. Spend just 30 minutes this week exploring it, read an article, watch tutorial, play around with the new app.
Dip their toes in.
Exactly. The key is to take axia cheerin, feed that curiosity, and start building that habit of continuous learning.
Small steps lead to big changes. Who knows, it might spark a lifelong passion for learning. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Keep those minds curious, those learning journeys exciting. Until next time, keep diving deep.